Afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. You know me, I'm Tom. Coming at you at the townhome. Okay, the topic of this video is going to be about insurance companies, and I'm going to give out as much insurance information as I can about what I just went through in the last 48 hours with these major insurance companies. And it's really no secret to what's going on in the insurance industry, especially when it comes to homeowners insurance. Like if you live in Florida, you know some of the rates have gone through the roof. They're astronomical, what these companies are trying to charge, okay? But I'm going to focus predominantly on my situation because I find it a little bit disheartening what I had to go through just to get the company that I've been with for 11 years to just understand that I'm just not going to sit idly by and pay their exorbitant rates, okay? But before we get started, you know what time it is. Oh yeah, here's mud in your eye. I got a half a beer, so this is going to be a half a beer video. It should be a 2-beer video about all the crap. But anyway, here, let's just dive into it. As you know, my O2, well, let me just start here. This is my company that I had nationwide, okay? Now, I'm not going to disclose the agent or anything like that. That's unfair. I just won't do that. Now, what I will disclose is what they tried pulling over on me, okay, the rates. I have my home, the townhome, I have my commercial business, and I had 2 vans that were just liability only on my policy approximately three weeks ago, okay? Now, I was paying on the average $313 to $350 per month for homeowners insurance and, of course, multi-car homeowner discount, car, home, and business. So, in fact, this is my commercial portfolio, okay? Now, what ended up happening is what started this whole thing off is that when I started paying my monthly premiums, and I would, they would send me an invoice. I would get 2, one that would cover the home and the cars, and then the other one would be for the business. Well, anytime anything's under commercial, for some reason it goes into a different category with Nationwide and some other larger carriers as to how they charge, for certain services they provide for you and what you have going on. And so mine is pretty simple. I mean, I've got the Mr. Fix-All van, and I've got commercial liability insurance, okay? So those 2, I'm going to focus on those 2 for a few moments, okay? Because that's where I noticed all the problems, okay? Is in the commercial portfolio, okay? The commercial portfolio is where this problem started. First off, I started noticing they're charging $8 just to send out an invoice. And I said, $8? Are you guys that cheap that you're gonna charge me $8 just to mail me an invoice? Now, they used to never do that, but they started doing that. And the reason was, it costs money to send out paper, okay? Mail something to you. But I didn't know it cost $8 to print an invoice that they got on their computer and put it in an envelope, which price of a stamp is 68 cents, and send it to me, but they charged me $8 for that process. So I got a little upset about that. And then I started thinking, well, it's like me. Anytime something snowballs, I snowball with it, okay? I caught that one little detail, and then I started questioning everything. Then I started looking at the rate they charged me for the commercial liability insurance for just my van. Now remember, my van's an 04, and I was being hit this is on a 6-month revolving policy, $1,638 every 6 months. That's just way too much. I said, what? You know, because I was paying that separately. Now, the commercial liability insurance is only $550 a year, okay? But they would send out the invoice for those two items and charge $8, and I was paying quite a bit of money per month to maintain the Mr. Fix-All van, and the only reason why is because it was under my business name. The title and the registration was under Mr. Fix-All Home and Garden, okay? The state of North Carolina, and that's another thing, DMV. They were socking it to me because I had weighted plates on it because it was a 2500 series vehicle. All right. Here's what I did. Number one, I went down to DMV and I took the weighted plates off that van because they were charging me huge amount of money to have weighted plates on that van, which that van does not tow, okay? It's just a weight classification if you tow and you get stopped and you're exceeding the weight that you're towing. And that's when you get a ticket. Well, I didn't tow with that van. I had the Super Duty truck, which I sold. So I thought, okay, well, I could save some money right there, which I did. I saved quite a bit of money going to personal tags. But remember, they were still under Mr. Fix-All Home and Garden, okay? It was still registered underneath the company name. Now, I went back to the insurance company and said, look, well, my agent, and said, look, you know, I need you to put this thing under my personal policy. And he did, okay? He did. He messed with the computer a little bit, and he got my insurance rate for the van down quite low per month. And I said, okay, we solved that problem. In reality, we didn't solve that problem. I'll tell you what ended up happening. So then the O2 van that I had last month blew up. Okay, so I was forced to buy a couple of vehicles. So I went out and bought me a 2021 Toyota Tacoma and a 2024 Toyota Corolla as my daily driver. I put them on my insurance policy at a full coverage on both. Now, I got a rate quote from Nationwide, and basically it was $2,200 per 6 months, okay? Keep that in mind, $2,200 per 6 months. Full coverage, no loan. I paid cash, so there was no lien holder, okay? Now, I'm also paying now commercial rates for the van and the commercial liability insurance portfolio, and now I've got two full coverage vehicles on my policy, okay? Well, I thought, okay, well, we're still going to keep this rate cheap because, we're, juggling a few things around with Nationwide. My agent has everything under control because I was basically, like I said, paying about $320 to $350 a month. Well, that all changed. And it changed in an ugly way. What ended up happening is that because my van was listed commercial, then what Nationwide did is they found out that that my agent was trying to put it under my personal usage, okay? Which he got caught doing that. He didn't say anything to me, but the bill that I got reflected Nationwide oversight over my entire portfolio with them. And from $330 to $320, $350 a month, it went to $950 a month. Damn, you heard that right, $950 a month. And they wanted me to pay that immediately. That was a bill that was due this basically in the next 5 days. Okay, so then I looked at the overall policy, and guess what it was? You won't believe it. Per 6 months, it was $2,700 every 6 months. It was over $5,000 per year to do what I originally did for less than $2,200 to $2,500 year round, okay, for everything. But again, the commercial van was the problem. So here's what I did. Here's where it gets sticky. I went down to the Division of Motor Vehicles because I went to another company called Carter Glass, okay? And they cut my rate on the two vehicles, the Tacoma and the Corolla. They cut it in half immediately, just cut it in half, okay? So I know that Nationwide was blowing smoke up my butt on that one. But the van became a major problem. And here's where this whole story, I'm going to wrap this up right here. The Mr. Fix-All van, being that it is under my company name, and I've got letters, I've got my van's got my name on it, my license number on it, and it's advertising on my van. The rate at Carter Glass for 1 year was $4,000 to insure a 2004 van with 250,000 miles on it. And I said, oh, hell no. Hell no, we're not doing that. And she goes, the only way you're going to save any money is that you got to get that van out of your business name. Okay, here's what I had to do. This all happened yesterday. I went down to the license plate titling agency here in Wake Forest and walked up to the counter, had the title to the van, had the registration to the van, had the plates to the van, and I said, I want to put this in my personal name. Oh, they hit the damn fan. Oh my God, did they hit the fan? Oh, sir, you can't do that. You have to get articles of incorporation saying that you're dissolving the company and you're selling off your assets. And I said, what? Now remember, I know contractual law. Don't anybody who ever talks crap like that and they try to pull that crap on me, I'm gonna burn them. Because I can tell you right now, here's the deal. I told them, this is what I told the lady, we went all the way up to the owner and manager of the license plate agency, and they agreed with me. But here's the deal. If I want to sell off my assets to a business, I do not have to dissolve the company. One thing does not entangle with the other. They're all standalone situations. Assets of the company can be sold and or transferred, okay? The company itself, if I want to sell it, then that's a whole different ballgame, but I'm not selling the company. I'm just transferring the assets, okay? So she said I had to go to the Secretary of State and get a notarized letter of that I'm selling the company and selling the assets. And I said, bullshit, that's not a law. And you can't show me it in the DMV codes that I have to do that. I want to put this in my personal name. I want you to take the title and I want you to flip it over to my personal name, sign it out of the company and sign it over to me and issue me a new title, new registration, and new plates. Oh boy, they all looked at me like I was about ready. They're about ready to call the cops on me because I just told them, I said, this is bullshit. You're not going to pull this one on me. And sure enough, as soon as the owner came over, he goes, no, let him do what he wants to do with his assets. That's his damn business. Just sign off on the damn title. Let him sign off on the title. We issue him a new title and tell him to pay the $206. And if the state of North Carolina has a problem with him, let him deal with the state of North Carolina. There you go. People, here's some advice to you. Do not let people get over on you because of your lack or your ignorance to the law, especially contractual law, okay? Corporate law, anything that deals with, you're paying somebody else because you're forced to pay because they say so. It's bullshit. Don't allow that to happen, okay? It's just not, it's not the way it's supposed to go, okay? The bottom line is I knew what I was talking about when I walked in there. And I knew exactly how I was going to play the game when I walked in there, and they tried to pull a rug over my eyes, and I caught them at it, okay? And now if I was ignorant, or if I just was naive, that's a good word to use, naive, I would have been forced to go down to city government and sit there and talk to the Secretary of State and get some resolution and some documents saying I'm dissolving the company to sell an asset? Are you kidding me? Oh, man. But anyway, okay, now here's what ended up happening. I got them to do that. I got a new plate, new registration on the spot, right? I paid the $203, whatever, $208, whatever it was, and the title got sent off. It's coming back in my personal name. Now, here's what I had to do all day yesterday. I had to take all the names, numbers, and everything off the van. It was just part of the right thing to do because part of this new personal policy, there's a question. Is there any markings on the van or advertising on the van? And I have to answer, no, there is not. So my van now does not have Mr. Fix-All Home and Garden on it. Nothing. It's clean like the day I bought it, okay? Now, here's the end result. 3 vehicles. The van's still on a separate policy. I put that under a totally separate policy, okay? Personal. Just personal use. The Tacoma and the Corolla are on another separate personal policy, okay? And my commercial portfolio is still with Nationwide because I paid it 1 year in advance so I wouldn't get that $8 stupid charge that they were trying to throw at me every month for sending me out an invoice. So now, of course, I had to pay to get all this new policy started. Now, the original bill that Nationwide wanted me to pay this week really was $950. Well, for $600, I completely dumped Nationwide all the policies I had with them. I converted it over to Carter Glass. Okay, and it's insurance. The company is called Insurance Auto Group. Okay, or Insurance Auto Company. It's a subsidiary, third-party thing. But anyway, it's underwritten by Carter Glass, which is a big agency here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, here's the deal. For $600 down, my new monthly payment, drum roll please, on everything. Business, 3 cars, home. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother thing. I switched over my homeowner's insurance too. I had to prove that I put a new roof on the place. There was a whole bunch of paperwork I did the other day to get these policies rolling and get them signed, sealed, and delivered. But my new monthly payment right now, combined, everything combined, guess what it is? $350 a month. Oh yeah, bam, there you go. Now, this is just a warning to everybody out there. If you're running a business, you own a corporation, you got a bunch of things in the works, you got your hands in a bunch of fires, the bottom line is insurance companies, especially the major ones right now, are getting extremely greedy. The agent, in fact, I don't even mind saying her name. Her name's Pam. She told me that in the last 6 to 7 months, she's flipped more Nationwide policyholders over to her company, the Insurance Auto Group, whatever the company I'm signed up with now. She says it's amazing because Nationwide is now price gouging all their customers, okay? I don't know if they had to pay out a big claim down in Florida, whatever the situation is, but they're trying to recoup some expenses that they incurred somewhere along the line, somewhere in the United States. Nationwide had to pay out a bunch of money, and now they're tacking that bill on to everybody else's policy so they can make up the difference in what they lost. And that's what these companies do. They'll literally come in and say, oh my God, yeah, you got to have insurance, but we're going to make you pay for the loss that we incurred financing and insuring the general public USA, which is a bunch of bullshit. Okay? If there's a company that's doing business, if they have losses, liabilities, then they ought to suffer the consequences and not transfer over all the debt and liability to the consumer. I mean, yeah, sometimes it costs money to stay in business, but the bottom line, if you start price gouging, hell, the insurance commissioner here just turned down a request from the insurance companies here in the state of North Carolina that they wanted for homeowners insurance, they wanted a 43% increase. Well, they got shot down. There was no way in hell North Carolina was going to allow the insurance industry to come in and say, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to jack your rates up another 43%. They got shut down. So the legislature, the legislative body here in the state of North Carolina is very proactive to its citizens and the needs and concerns that we have. So I'm just trying to say to you guys as civilians and citizens and also consumers that do not allow these companies to get away with this stuff. It's price gouging at the worst level. Okay, on that note there, thank you very much for being on my channel, and thank you very much for listening to me rant and rave sometimes, but sometimes the information I provide to you is very valuable, and hopefully you've learned something and you can take something away from it. You know what to do: subscribe, share, like, leave those comments. I'll talk to you tonight. Tom out of here.